Tennessee State head coach Rod Reed, the Tigers coming off a loss to in-state foe Tennessee Tech last week. They're going to end the spring season at home. They're going to host SEMO on Sunday afternoon. So, Coach, just some thoughts on your team, and we'll go to some questions. Oh, I think you're on mute. Sorry. There we go.
Well, I thought that, I knew it was going to be a tough game for us on the road, with some of the guys that we had out, but we had enough to go in there and compete. And I think that, we got outworked on the offensive side of the ball. I thought Tech had a great defensive plan. They limited us to, I think, 50 plays and 159 yards of total offense. I thought at times defensively we gave ourselves a chance, but we didn't play very well on third downs. I think they were 9 of 16. But on the flip side of that, we were 3 of 14 on third downs ourselves. So we couldn't move the ball. We were ineffective on offense early on. And, they just outworked us up front, man. And that's something that can't happen. We got to do a better job of maintaining blocks and staying on blocks and creating avenues for our guys to run through and protecting our passer. On the flip side of that, defensively, when you look at the stat sheet, you got 13 tackles for loss. You had 3 sacks in that game. If you look at that, you say, wow, that was a totally dominating defensive performance. But we did allow some big plays, in the process of being really good up front at times. So we got to clean up some little things and have everybody playing assignment football. And we've got to end this thing right with the victory against SEMO coming up this Sunday.
It seems like just on paper, SEMO and your team seem very comparable. Like you want to be physical, you want to run the ball, play tough defense. What have you seen about SEMO from film?
They're really tough, up front, the defensive front, they don't allow very many run lanes in there in some schemes. But, you watch them and, you see some things that you could possibly take advantage of. But they're very well coached. They're sound in what they do. They got some good corners that can cover man to man, which frees them up to do a lot of stuff that up front, with pressures and movement with the line and stuff like that. Offensively, they've got some receivers that can catch the football. The quarterback is really good. I think that he controls, he commands the offense really well. They got 2 good running backs that can really, really run the football. They keep the feet moving. They're not coming down on first contact, and their offensive line is big and they get after you. So we've got to be sharp on all fronts this week.
With your rushing attack against Tennessee Tech, and you alluded to it, you all were limited to 70 yards, which was your lowest output of the season. Is that something that you mentioned some of the things to work on? Is that something, though, that you can fix going into the SEMO game and against their defense?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was basically, like I said, we got outworked. We had people in the right spot to make plays, and their guys did a good job of getting off blocks and making tackles and closing the holes off really, really quick. So we've got to make sure that we sustain blocks up front. We got to make sure that we know who we're going to and just sustain the blocks. I think, when you look at the tape, their guys were hitting us and getting off, shedding blocks and making tackles. We just weren't finishing. We finished a couple of blocks. I think, there's a different story there in our rush game. So those are things that we got to, concentrate on this week and make sure that we get corrected.
Coach Took this morning talked about just your special teams and how good they were and preparing for them. That seems to be something that's been pretty consistent for you this spring. Is that true?
Yeah, Coach Council has done a really good job with our special teams. We pride ourselves in that. We spend a lot of time on it. And we've got 3 actually really good specialists in Caleb Mosley, Antonio Zeta, and, Jimmy Lowry doesn't get to kick a whole lot, but because Zeta's there, but he did a good job kicking off for us last week. So our special teams have been good for us all year. Our coverage teams have been good, and we got to make sure that we continue to do that and use that as a weapon for us.
A lot of the coaches earlier, they're just talking about, playing the spring and just the way rosters are and injuries and other stuff. Freshmen have gotten a lot more game action than they may have would in the fall, and how that helps the team. Can you talk to some of those players on your roster, maybe that have gotten a chance to play a lot of snaps that maybe they wouldn't have gotten if we'd have played back in the fall?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a kid like Ken Andrews, who I think is playing at an all-conference level at safety for us. He's played since the first game. He's been our starter, strong safety, and he's done a really good job. Chris Walker, Emmanuel Baez, Detoye Adewale are three defensive linemen that we rotate in at end and at D tackle, some that have played a whole lot. Jalen Rouse at the running back spot. Zaire Thornton, wide receiver. It's a boatload of them, man. We got a bunch of freshmen out there playing. Fondren Hollis is a freshman corner, number 10 that plays for us. So you're right. Due to a lot of injuries, it's been a war of attrition. And but those guys have stepped up and they played well for us at spots. And they made mistakes. But that's what this is all about. Normally, that's what you go through in spring ball. You get to see who are the guys you feel like that can play for you in the fall. And I think we found some jewels in there. Ahmad Nelson is another one, that linebacker. He missed a couple of games due to COVID protocol. But, when he has played, he's played well for us at the middle linebacker spot. So we're excited about those guys and, what their future holds for.
I think Coach Simpson said that that's an advantage. And then the negative is having them in the game, making those mistakes because they are young. How do you balance that then? Because it's a trade-off both ways.
Well, I mean, that's why you coach. It's unfortunate that, they're thrown into a season instead of a spring to be able to get those things corrected. But, that's the nature of the beast that we're dealing with right now in the COVID era. So you just got to continue to coach them up. But now, that these guys have had some game action and that they will be a lot better in the fall, assuming that you don't get any more injuries, you're pretty stacked, up there with the guys that you played with this spring. And I think it's going to pay dividends in the fall.
I've asked every coach this, and there's still this game to play, obviously, but do you have one or two takeaways about, there was uncertainty last year whether we'd even play a season. And now if we play all these games on Sunday, we'll have played the complete schedule. Just given what it's meant to the kids to have this opportunity and to you and your coaching staff too.
I think it's meant a lot. It's unfortunate, that they were thrust into this situation with the COVID and, not having an opportunity to go through an off season. A lot of these true freshmen that were playing, we got them August the 11th. And for them to be thrown out in the fire against, college prepared guys, man, is a little unfair to them. But, now you get to see what you got, what you're working with, and you can build on that. But it is I think it was a little unfair for those guys to have to go out there and do that. But I think the flip side of that is that you know what you got and you can prepare for the future.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time all season long, and best of luck to you and TSU on Sunday.
All right, thanks. Go Big Blue.